Everyone, my name is Noel Vega Jr., and I'll be discussing my community scan of my community, my hometown, where I reside, a place called West York, Pennsylvania. So let me tell you the reason. Let me start off by saying the reason why I chose this community of West York. Number one, I lived here for about 8 to 9 years, and personally, I've seen the positive progression that this community has made for growth and looking out for the end user, our community members. So while my family and I have laid foundational roots here, we are pretty excited to see not only the changes that we have endured, but changes for the future, and hopefully within the next decade or so, we'll continue to see the positive growth within our small community of West Shore, Pennsylvania. So let me dive into some statistics. Number one, we are small. We are zero point 0.6 square miles of town. That's right, we are literally a postage stamp in this big state of Pennsylvania. Our total population's 5,094 people. And what's interesting about our population is that we are a 60-40 split. 60% adults, 40% children. So 40% children, 18 years or under, equivalent to about 2,089 children. So I thought that was one of the most interesting facts that came out of this, and it's interesting to see the growth that come out of that decade or so, if that gap will continue to come closer or maybe even decide to go out a little bit further out, depending on generations and decisions that are being made, etc., etc. Our poverty rate is 17%, pretty high, but not very surprising. Our neighboring city, which is York, Pennsylvania, has a poverty rate of 31.9%. So I'm not surprised that our little town of 5,094 people, we have a poverty rate of 70%. So I'm not surprised at all by that. Interesting, not surprised. And now it comes down to the income part. Now, I know this is a very sensitive subject, but it's very interesting to see this and the awareness of it that, again, income has been a problem for a very long time. So within my community, it is a problem. The median income ranges about 4,000 to 42,000 a year. For men, 35,000 is the estimated median for income for men. Women, 25,000. So there's a $10,000 difference between the two. Again, uh, I'm all for equality of pay, but in this case, it continues to be a problem and highlighted in these community scans that we do and other things that we have done, and it definitely needs to change. But anyway, back to the poverty rate of 70%, which kind of brings into this next one, the median housing cost, which is extremely high for this small town. So an average mortgage cost is about $1,680. So when I scanned out the other towns and cities, about 10 to 15 mile radius, they're pretty low, about 12 to $1,300 housing costs compared to our little small town, our little small community. This town, 1680, is utterly ridiculous. But again, expensive, which I can see why our poverty rates are pretty high. Now going back to the community demographics, very interesting to see the programs and the resources that are available within our community. So I took it upon myself to say, okay, what do we do well and what don't we do well? And doing this community scan here, I found out number one, we have no resources in this small town due to the fact that I think we're a very small population. However, this community does a great job from our core center, and I call that our core center, which is our school district. Does a great job in supplying those resources and programs to us from the outside. From the outside, so they're very intentional in providing those resources for us and providing information and resources again to the community members. Very intentional from our school district. What the very interesting thing about it is, and this is probably for every small town out there, that within a 5 to 15 mile radius, those resources are available. We just got to travel, which is not a terrible thing. But again, when it comes down to growth within a community, it's not the best thing. That's just my opinion, but it's not the best thing. But anything, one of the great things that we do here is food resource. West York has their own food pantry based out of the high school, which we have sponsors, we have donations coming on a regular, and we have worked with they have worked with the York Food Bank continuously over the years, which provides food for the community of West York, which is fantastic. For anybody that's in need in West York, food wise, we do a great job. However, based on our size of our population, I think we have an opportunity to take advantage of kind of support more for the youth as they're becoming a little bit more relevant within our population. I think we need to find programs or resources within our community for our children and teens. So we lack that. Matter of fact, we lack that entirely going from the 5 to 15 mile radius. There are programs, yes. The YMCA offers programs, the Youth Advocacy Group offers programs. However, they're flooded with every other school district within your county, resources wise. So why not have a small community one built here so children and teens can take advantage of? So that's kind of the area of opportunity where I see that I will explore for innovation moving forward for our big project. And I think it's very interesting to say the least. But again, um, for as small as a town, it's going to be a tough um, solution to base off. But I think it's an opportunity well worth trying to solve for this community. Thanks, guys.